So, dear students, in this lecture, we shall study simple extensions. Before coming to the formal definition of a simple extension, we would prove first a lemma, which is actually a motivation for these type of extensions. So, lemma lemma 1.1. So, let K be an extension field of a field F, be an extension, be an extension, and alpha belonging to K be any element, then there is a unique minimal subfield of K containing both F and alpha, containing both F and alpha. So given any extension K of F and any arbitrary element alpha in K, there always exists a minimal extension of F and a subfield of K. So this field actually lies in between F and K. It's a subfield of K, but it is an extension field of F containing both F and alpha. So let us see the proof of this lemma. Proof is simple. So proof so let K be an extension of F and let alpha belonging to K be any element. Now you take this family of fields Fi, I in I. What is this family? It is the collection of subfields of K containing both F and alpha. The collection of subfields of K containing both F and alpha. Obviously, this family is non-empty. So C is a non-empty family. How? As K is a member of this family, because K is a subfield of K and K contains both alpha and F by our assumption. So as K lies in this family, at least K lies in this family, so therefore this is a non-empty collection of subfields of K containing F and alpha. Now what do we do here? We take the intersection of this family, intersection I in I, Fi. So let it be L. Then obviously we know that the intersection of any number of subfields is a subfield. So therefore L is a subfield of K, is a subfield of K containing both F and alpha. And being the intersection of a family of subfields with this property, it is the smallest subfield of K containing both F and alpha. So being the intersection of subfields of K containing both F and alpha, it is the smallest subfield. It is the smallest subfield of K containing both F and alpha. So it is the unique minimal subfield of K containing both F and alpha. So thus the unique minimal subfield of K containing both F and alpha. So the lemma is true. Okay, so we have proven the lemma. Now, one thing we must note from this lemma is that this lemma can be proved for any subfield F of K and any number of elements. So instead of taking a single alpha belonging to K, if I choose say alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, so any number of elements of this field K, then the lemma would also be true by similar argument. So as a note, we can just write here. So what is note? Note is that lemma, above lemma is true. So lemma is true. Lemma is true if alpha is replaced by alpha 1, alpha 2, so on. So if I want to prove the lemma for instead of having alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, many number of elements, then just simply you take the collection of subfields of K containing alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, and by similar argument you take the intersection of this collection and you would get the required field. Okay, so motivated from this definition, we give this definition. Motivated from this lemma, we now introduce the concept of field generated by some elements. So we have this definition. So let K be an extension of F, and let alpha 1, alpha 2, so on be in K. So it's a collection of elements in K. Then the smallest subfield of K containing F and these elements and alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, denoted by this symbol F, alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, is called the field generated by alpha 1, alpha 2, so on, over F. And such a field exists because of our previous lemma. Previous lemma says that such a smallest field exists. So the smallest subfield of K containing F and these alpha 1, alpha 2, so on is called the field generated by alpha 1, alpha 2, so on over F. And as a special case, if I take a one element field generated by one element, that is called the simple extension. So another definition, if the field k is generated by a single element alpha over f. So k is what? K is f alpha. Then k is said to be a simple extension of f. K is said to be a simple extension of f. So the simple extensions, they exist because we have just seen in lemma. And this alpha, the generator of this field, is called as the permittive element. Alpha is called the permittive element. Now, what we have noticed here is that, in fact, you must also note, so I have a field f. Now I have two extensions. I have a field f and I have an extension k of f. So from this extension k, I got one field, this f alpha, which is an extension of f, but it is a subfield of k. Now suppose this alpha is also a root of some irreducible polynomial. Suppose this alpha is also a root of some irreducible polynomial over f. Then, as we have seen in case of our previous lectures, that there exists an extension of this field f containing this root alpha. And what is that? That extension is nothing but fx over ideal generated by this irreducible polynomial px. Okay, where alpha is a root of this irreducible polynomial px. So now you have two extensions of f containing this root alpha. One is this and the other one is f alpha, the field generated by alpha over f. Now, obviously the question arises that what is the relationship between these two fields, f alpha and the field fx over ideal generated by px. In fact, they are going to be isomorphic, as we would see in the next theorem. Okay, so if they are isomorphic, then because this is the smallest extension of f containing alpha, so this field would be the smallest extension of f containing the root of the irreducible polynomial px. So alpha is a root of px. Now see the theorem. So this is the theorem. So theorem so let f be a field and let px be a polynomial in fx which is irreducible, be an irreducible polynomial Suppose k is an extension field of f. Suppose k is an extension of f containing a root alpha of px, a root alpha of this irreducible polynomial px. So you have here p alpha equal to 0. So let f alpha be the field generated by this alpha over f, generated by alpha over f. Then the theorem says that this field fx over ideal generated by px is isomorphic to f alpha. So these two fields are isomorphic. So you can say that up to isomorphism, so thus up to isomorphism, this fx over ideal generated by px is the smallest extension of f containing a root of px, is the smallest extension of f containing a root of. How it would be smallest? Because it is isomorphic to a field which is actually the smallest extension of f containing alpha. So therefore it would be a smallest extension of f containing a root alpha of px. Okay, so we would prove that these two fields are isomorphic. So see how we would prove that they are isomorphic. So we have an evaluation homomorphism phi alpha from this ring of polynomials in X with coefficients from f to this f alpha. F alpha is a subfield of K. So how do we define this evaluation homomorphism? Phi alpha of any polynomial Px is, you choose another polynomial, say Ax. So phi alpha of Ax, any polynomial Ax, is A alpha. So we are evaluating this polynomial. So phi actually evaluates this polynomial Ax at alpha. So A alpha would be the value of this polynomial at alpha. Or you can say that it is a polynomial in alpha. Now phi alpha is easily seen to be a ring homomorphism. So phi alpha is a ring homomorphism. We must also note that phi alpha when restricted on f is the identity map on f. It's also clear. Because if you take phi alpha on any constant term, okay, so the constant term you can write as constant term of a polynomial whose other coefficients are 0. 0x plus 0x square plus so on. So it would be just then A. For any A in F. For any A in F. So phi alpha, this evaluation homomorphism, when we restrict on F, it is identity map on F. Moreover, phi alpha, if we apply phi alpha on X, regarding X as a polynomial, so it would be what then? It would be phi alpha 0 plus x plus 0x square plus so on. So what it would be? It would be phi alpha, sorry. So you replace x by alpha, okay? So you would get alpha. So this map phi alpha has two properties. One property is that when we restrict this map phi alpha on F, it is identity map on F and it maps X to alpha. So you must note this. Moreover, this polynomial Px belongs to kernel of this map phi alpha. Simply because you have P alpha equal to 0. So this means what? This means phi alpha of Px, which is P alpha, is 0. So this polynomial Px belongs to kernel of phi alpha. So this means what? This means the ideal generated by this polynomial Px is contained in the ideal kernel of phi alpha. So once you have this property that ideal generated by Px is contained in kernel of phi alpha, then you can define the induced map, induced homomorphism. You can say it is phi alpha tilde. It would be from the quotient fx, our ideal generated by Px, this field to the field f alpha, simply by defining phi alpha tilde of any Ax plus ideal generated by Px. So we define its image as phi alpha of this polynomial Ax. Okay, so such maps are called as induced maps. Induced in the sense that we are getting this map phi alpha tilde from the map phi alpha. So you can say that phi alpha induces this map phi alpha tilde. So clearly, so we must check that. First, we must check that this map is well defined. So phi alpha tilde is well defined. So it's a well defined map. So suppose you have Ax plus ideal generated by Px is same as, say, Bx plus ideal generated by Px. So this means what? This means Ax minus Bx belong to ideal generated by Px. Okay, but ideal generated by Px is actually contained in kernel of phi alpha. So this means phi alpha of this Ax minus Bx is 0. Okay, so this means what? This means phi alpha of Ax is same as phi alpha of Bx because it is a homomorphism. So this means that A alpha is same as B alpha. Or from here also you can get that the mapping is well defined because phi alpha of Ax is what? Phi alpha of Ax is actually phi tilde of this Ax plus ideal generated by Px. So this is same as phi tilde of Bx plus ideal generated by Px. So the map phi alpha tilde is well defined. Okay, it is clearly a homomorphism because phi alpha is a homomorphism. So phi alpha tilde is defined in terms of phi alpha. So therefore, once phi alpha is a homomorphism, phi alpha tilde would be homomorphism. And I got this map as well defined because of the fact that the ideal generated by Px is contained in kernel of phi alpha. Okay, now you have this phi alpha tilde, a homomorphism between two fields. Now we would apply the result, a proposition that we proved in our one of the earlier lectures, that any homomorphism between two fields is either identically 0 or it is injective. Okay, so phi alpha tilde is either a 0 map or is injective. But it is not a zero map. Why it is not a zero map? We have just noticed. Because we know that this phi alpha tilde restricted on F is same as phi alpha restricted on F. And phi alpha restricted on F is identity on F. Moreover, phi alpha tilde of X plus ideal generated by Px, okay, is same as phi alpha of X, and phi alpha of X is alpha. We have noticed this. So therefore this map phi alpha tilde, which is a homomorphism between two fields, is not identically zero. So this means what? This means phi alpha tilde is injective. Once it is injective, it is an isomorphism of this field phi x, this f of x, our ideal generated by Px, with its image. So fx our ideal generated by Px. So which is a subfield of f alpha. But our claim was that this fx our ideal generated by Px, it is isomorphic to this. So it would be isomorphic if we show that the map phi alpha tilde is, sorry, this is phi alpha tilde. So phi alpha tilde must be then onto map. Okay. Now clearly alpha, which is phi alpha of x, and which is phi